Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the West Ham Massive. Thanks for joining us, and please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are new around here. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, all these actions that you can take are a couple of seconds of your time. They are completely free of charge to you, and they help to grow the channel from its current subscriber base when I last looked of 1,275 subscribers. And we thank you very much indeed for your support in this endeavour. We are here to discuss the Carabao Cup third round, Liverpool versus West Ham United at Anfield, which has never really been too much of a happy hunting ground, it has to be said, for us. And I've only got to go back to the match that took place in the very same competition at the quarterfinal stage. I was there with my daughter, my first ever trip to Anfield, my daughter's first ever trip to Anfield, a mere couple of days before Christmas Day. And we travelled, we went on the coach all the way from Rush Green, the West Ham training ground, and we went all the way to Anfield. We had a stop along the way. It was a little bit uncomfortable in terms of, seating and all the rest of it. It was a little bit sort of cramped and whatever. But we went there and we knew that it was going to be an uphill struggle. We went there with a little bit of hope in our hearts, thinking maybe we're going to put out a team that's going to really challenge them and push them all the way and all the rest of it. We got off the coach, and within about 5 minutes of getting off the coach, I heard the starting lineup, and I just thought I might as well just jump back on the coach and go back to London, because he swallowed the manager's just swallowed. Simple as that. And so it proved. We was 4-0 down at halftime, I think it was 3-0, 4-0. I'm trying to erase it from my memory, but I've not done a very good job. We lost 5-1. Yeah, I mean, how's it going to go? We're not exactly going there with brimming with confidence and all the rest of it, but look, we'll go there. I'm sure that the boys will do their best. Have a look on the ticker at the bottom. You can see who the referee is, the assistants, and all the rest of it. One thing that needs to be factored in is that this is a match that has no involvement from VAR. That's the first thing. So you'll notice there that it doesn't mention a VAR and an assistant VAR. That isn't because I've forgotten anything. That is completely correct. There is no VAR in this stage of the Carabao Cup. Furthermore, if the team should finish level after 90 minutes have been played and the referee blows his whistle, there is no extra time, there is no replay, it is straight to a penalty shootout. I think that is that a leveler? Does that give Liverpool a slight advantage? I don't know. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Am I going there expecting too much? Probably not. Probably not. But anyway, thoughts on the opposition. Look, they're a wonderful team, Liverpool. Great tradition, great club. The team that when I was growing up in the 80s, they were the dominant force in English and even European football. They were number one. Great players like Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, Bruce Grobbelaar, Ian Rush, players of that ilk. I remember growing up quite vividly. They're obviously a team now that have obviously been through a few little barren years between the 90s and sort of like the Jurgen Klopp era when he came in, and obviously he's won them a Premier League title, a Champions League title, various FA Cups, League Cups besides. But it's a new era now. A new era dawns at Anfield, and there are a few games into it. Arne Slot comes in from, I think it was Feyenoord he's come in from, if I remember correctly, and he's obviously come in. They have had one defeat in the game against Nottingham Forest the other week, but generally speaking, the the vibes coming out of Liverpool that it's a transitional period, but it's going reasonably well, which is obviously better than what we've got at the moment ourselves. But it can only get better, right? It can only get better. But they're a quality team in terms of their traditions. They're a quality squad in terms of what they've got to offer. We're going to have our work cut out for them. There's no doubt about it. They're absolutely going to come out, and even if they manage to put out what we would consider to be a reserve team, let's make no mistake, that team is potentially good enough to finish off a good percentage of the teams in the Premier League. There might be a couple of exceptions, but even their reserve team would probably give most of the teams in the Premier League, even if they were playing their first team, a run for their money. Please do get your thoughts in the live chat. I've literally just seen one pop in, and that is from Words and Pictures. The only way is up. You're completely correct, Words and Pictures. At least I hope you are. That's all I can say. So that's my thoughts on Liverpool. As I say, we are going to have our work cut out for us. We need them. We need them really to put out an understrength team, but even that on its own is not going to be enough. We need them, that understrength team, to play to their full potential. We probably need to put out somewhere approaching our first 11, whatever that is. I'm not too sure that the manager's figured that bit out, and that'll be quite interesting to see. But he would need to put out what I would consider to be something close to his first 11, there or thereabouts. A couple of little tweaks, and you'll see the 11 that I would like to see. And I'll explain my reasons behind it, because there might be a few picks that people will go, oh, bloody hell, I'm not too sure I'd choose that. But I do have my reasons. But I think that we need to make sure that we've got all 11 starting players at around about an 8 out of 10. But for us to have any chance, and like I say, it would need to be something close to our full strength 11. Again, what that is, I don't know. But we would need to have them put out something close to a scratch side. Brendan, hope you're well. Says, evening, their manager would have slotted in nicely at West Ham. I see what you did there, Brendan. I see what you did there. I think he will want a cup in his first season, so he'll have a go. Completely correct. I do think that, it's the first trophy that's on offer. And I remember, and it always stuck in my mind, that Jose Mourinho, when he first went to Chelsea in 04-05 season, turned around and said that they went for the League Cup for the simple reason that it gave them that winning mentality, that winning habit that becomes habit forming, and they managed to get their hands on that piece of silverware in that first season. And then a few months later, they lifted the Premier League. They lifted the big one. Heavy Metal Therapy, hope you are well, and thank you for coming along. Really do appreciate it. Anyway, so let's get on to the next thing. Our opposition's key player. Now, really, that is a difficult one to answer, because we don't know what team that Arne Slot is going to put out. Is he going to put out a full strength 11? I doubt it. Just to give you some team news, before we go too much further, let's give some team news. So, as far as Liverpool are concerned, players that they're going to have out: Harvey Elliott out, Alisson the goalkeeper out. It looks like Alisson might come back for the Wolves game, but it's very unlikely we're going to see him tomorrow. For that reason, it's very likely going to be Queeving Kelleher between the sticks. There could be quite a few changes, though. You could see the likes of Connor Bradley, Costa Simicas, Federico Chiesa, possibly getting a starting run in the starting 11. Will that be enough for us? Time will tell. But as far as their key players concerned, I'm going to go for a player that I've watched since he went there last season, and I rate him really highly. And I know that obviously a lot of the plaudits will go towards the likes of Salah and players like that, but I'm going to pick Dominic Szoboszlai. Obviously a player that probably is quite a high score on the game of Scrabble, but I think technically very proficient player. He went into Liverpool last season, and he's obviously done really well. I think he's a quality player. If he plays, and as I say, this is always the thing with these Carabao Cup things, is you're never quite sure what's going to be put out in front of you. That there is a little slide of the relative form of the two teams, obviously ourselves and Liverpool. As you can see, there's an awful lot more green on the left-hand side of the page, and there's an awful lot more red on the right-hand side of the page. We obviously want it to be the other way round. Alas, it's not. But that's the form going into it. They've obviously got a 3-0 win as their last game. We've got a 3-0 defeat. So we're coming at it from opposite ends. But Like I say, it can only get better, right? Let's have a look and see what else you're putting in there. I'd like Irving to start. Yes, I've wrestled with Andy Irving as far as whether to start him, and I'll get it on the slide right at the end as to whether I would actually concur with that. But he did come under consideration. But whether I've ultimately gone for him, you'll have to wait till the end to find out. Brendan says also, I'd like Gallagher to be their key player. Yeah, I'm not too sure he will be, mate. Exactly that. I'm not too sure we'll involve him enough. But all it takes is one shot, right? All it takes is for us, our rear guard, to have the game of their lives, and for some way, somehow, even if it's an own goal, for the ball to creep in the back of the net. That would be great. And obviously, you've agreed with me on Szoboszlai. So, Vic, hope you are well. Hope you are good as gold. Yes, Andy Madley is indeed the ref. Yes, obviously his brother was also a referee, Bobby Madley. Whatever happened to him? Anyway, so let's move on with the presentation. So I'm just going to press that button there. That will show you the head-to-head in all competitions in the last 6 matches between our very own West Ham United and Liverpool. It doesn't make for great reading, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, Liverpool have won 5 of that sequence with 1 draw. That draw coming in the game on the 27th of April, when we obviously had a home fixture against the Red Men, and we managed to get a 2-2 draw at Desmond. But other than that, we've had very slim pickings of that particular confrontation. If we now look at the Anfield head-to-head, it doesn't get much better. In actual fact, it actually gets worse, because in all 6 games, we've not got the better of it. In fact, you have to go back, obviously, to the 2015-16 season, when we got that once-in-a-generation victory. What was it? We got Mark, I think off the top of my head, was it Mark Noble, Lando Lanzini and Diafra Sacco got 3 goals. One of the final games of the Brendan Rodgers tenure at Liverpool. And obviously a little while after that, Jurgen Klopp turned up. So, but that doesn't happen very often. So I'm not going into this with an awful lot of optimism. That might be quite pessimistic of me, but I'm just realistic, guys. What can I say? How would I asked in 2 halves and a hole in the middle? Well, listen. I do apologise if that's caused you any sort of like upset or anything, Vic. You know me. I'm not looking to sort of cause anyone a problem. So accept my apologies in the way that they're meant. So let's press that button. There is my starting 11. Now, guys, bear with me. Let me explain. Let me explain my logic. So, and no, I haven't just come out of call. I know what you're all thinking. I would go Lucas Fabianski in goal. Look, is there much of a difference between Areola and Fabianski? I don't believe there is, in terms of their shot-stopping ability. In terms of distribution, I believe that Areola is clearly the superior exponent of that side of the game. However, I don't think that really the distribution is going to be that big a factor in deciding who goes in goal. I would like to see Fabianski get a bit of a run out. I'd like to see him. That's not a Liverpool necktie. No, it's just red. It's just red. It doesn't have the Liverpool insignia on it. It's just, look, I think it looks good, Vic. What can I tell you? It's a blue suit. It's a red tie. It's a white shirt. I think it looks striking. It's just my little gimmick that I've got when I do the big debate. That's my little thing. That's my thing going forwards. It's my little gimmick, my little selling point, my USP, if you will. So anyway, Fabianski in goal. Fabianski in goal. Now, there is one that, if you've been very observant, one player there that I'm pretty sure most people will be looking at and going, really, Gatesy? Really? And that's the left back, Oliver Scholes. I would play Oliver Scholes. Is it genius? Is it suicide? Look, there's only one way to find out. Only one way to find out. If he's good enough, just throw him in. Look at it this way. Do we actually think that we're going to go there and get anything? No. So he's under absolutely no pressure. None. He can go out there and just play his natural game. Just go out there, express yourself, sunshine. Do you know what? If it happens, it happens. If it don't, then you've got a great experience of making a big team appearance in a cup game at Anfield, one of the great cathedrals of English, British, European, world football. You can go out there, show people what you're all about. Do you know what? If he goes out there and he stinks the place out, do you know what? I don't think anyone will think anything really that bad of him because, as I say, no one expected anything different. But if he goes out there and he manages to show exactly what he's all about and the potential is there, then maybe he can make a claim to be Emerson's backup and not Cresswell. And who knows, if he goes any further, maybe he might even push Emerson for a starting berth. It could happen. Only one way we're going to find out if he's got the minerals. Play him. Put him in. That's what we want, right? As West Ham fans, we want to see our youth players getting a go. So stick him in. Stick him in. Now, I haven't gone nuts and I haven't stuck in youth players left, right, and centre, but that's the one I want to see. On the right-hand side, I would give Wan-Bissaka the night off. I think he got absolutely tore to shreds against Chelsea. I do think he was slightly hampered by the tactics. I do think that was possibly under instruction from the head coach. I don't think that he showed the best of himself. Take the night off, go on the bench. Maybe we might need you. Fine, not a problem. Max Kilman, again, he did have a torrid time against Chelsea. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? I don't think I would drop him out. I think I'd say to him, look, mate, we need you. Go again. It is what it is. Now, as I'm sitting here rabbiting away to myself, we've got a little bit of a surprise coming. Now, normally, I do this, and sometimes my brother's here, I might get a guest in. Usually it's quite West Ham centric. Today's an exception. And I'm going to press this button, and we've actually going to get a perspective from the Liverpool side of things. And this is Kanye. Now, Kanye has got, in association with, and some of you might know the name Michael Levy Jr., they've got their own YouTube channel. I'm now going to shut up, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and also give his channel a cheeky plug.
Cheers for that, Gator. So I'm Kanye, from Opinions from Offside with Michael. I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm a football lover. So I love watching all teams, love analysing, love tactics, love different styles. I thought I could play professional at one point, and then I realised I was not good enough. So I just talk about it now and trying to talk professionally about it if that's possible. But that's pretty much me in a nutshell. And rocking out the retro, as you can see.
I remember that. What was that? Around about 83?
85, year I was born.
85.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it was a great kit. That I remember that era, sort of crown paints, and then after that, it was it Candy, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had the Candy one next. I just always imagined the John Barnes one.
Yeah, great kit, great days. Okay, let's just sort of back the truck up a little bit. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to sort of press that button to get rid of that, so that we've got you in glorious Technicolor. Now, I'm going to go back, and I've answered a couple of these questions for myself, but I'd be really interested to get your thoughts from a Liverpool perspective, looking at West Ham. I've obviously given my thoughts on Liverpool, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, Kanye, I am not expecting much tomorrow. I'd actually take a 2-1 defeat if we actually looked like we was pushing you. I'm not expecting much, mate. I've looked at our record. It's horrendous at Anfield. Absolutely horrific. It's a bloodbath a lot of the times. But as a Liverpool fan, what do you observe when you're looking across at the guys in claret and blue? What do you expect to see tomorrow?
Well, I expect them to make some changes and try and, just based on what I've seen, come out with some sort of dignity, right? And I think the players' mentality of dignity and the managers are two different things. So I think the manager will set up to try and keep it tight, not concede early, try and play very compact and just frustrate us, very similar to what happened with Forest. But I think if you're the players, I'm hoping they see it as a bit of a free hit and just maybe take the shackles off of the Premiership pressure and go, right, it's a cup game. Let's have a go. Let me beat my man. If I beat my man, I'm looking good. I've done my part. And that, to me, it usually brings a good game. If I don't know what you think your West Ham team will be, but if you've got, say, Emerson's going to start against Chiesa on the right, that a prime Chiesa, prime Emerson when he was really good last year against Chiesa, just getting back to sharpness, be a good battle. That be a really good battle. It's an opportunity for both to come out on top. So hopefully they'll all be doing that over the pitch. I'd like to see a good game. I'd like us to run out 3-0 winners, like, but I'm realistic. These are the
There's
sort
every
of games
possibility
where
you might, Kanye.
well, these are the sort of games where people turn up. Like you've got Birmingham in League One. It's their cup final now. So anyone they play, they go to St Andrews, and it's a big game. And I know we play you in the Premiership. We played you in the Premiership a lot, but it's still that right. It's Anfield. Like that's how I would look if someone offered me the chance to play at the Olympic Stadium or anything like that. It's right. Let's go. I mean, I played at Anfield once in a friendly, and that was immense. Like, and that's I'm hoping it draws that out, and we have a really good game. And people just turn up individually. That's all you can do. You turn up and beat your man. It's down to the next 10. If you can get 5 out of 6, you come out with some sort of dignity there.
Beat your opposite number. That's what it's all about, and that's all you can do. You know, beat your opposite number, and you've got to rely upon your teammates to do likewise. And you've got a shot. You've got a shot. Yeah. I've obviously sort of said as far as opposition player, we'll get that one up. So I answered this question, and I realised that it being a Carabao Cup game, it's kind of difficult to get in the head sometimes of these managers, head coaches, and really understand who they're going to select. However, my pick as an opposition key player, if he plays, I really think Dominic Szoboszlai is a fantastically gifted player. And I've selected him as the player that I think we need to look out for. Flipping it now on its head, you as a Liverpool player, a Liverpool fan, who do you look at on the other side? And again, I appreciate that you don't know what the coach is going to do, and neither do I. But if you had to select a player that you would have to go, that's the one we really have to shackle to maximise our chances, who would you select?
Depending on the team, I think I'm going to look at Bowen purely because when there was talk about maybe he was being interested in Bowen a couple of years ago, I think that season he scored 2 against us, and he just looked so dangerous, as if to say, "Why don't you get me?" And I think this will be another chance for him where, right, why don't you get me? This is another chance for you. You had your chance to have me on this side. I mean, I know we've got other players in there that have done well for us, but I can imagine a footballer that is sticking in your throat. You could have signed him, you chose not to. Like, come on, and it's just that it's like an ex-player coming to you, coming back and just haunting you. I mean, that's what I'd look at. But individually on the day, the player I think will have to really impress this game. I'm going to look at this will be an Ings game. I think he's another one. If he plays, he usually scores against us. He'll be another one where I'll be looking at. He can score as long as we're 4-0 up. Like, he can score then. I don't care. But
well, I'm hoping he can score when the score's locked at 0-0 in the 90th minute. That'd be quite good as far as I'm concerned.
As long as we get the 93rd and 95th.
No, scuppered me chances. I'll just get that back up. That was my attempt at a West Ham 11. I was in the process of talking through it when you came in, so I got as far as Kufal, Fabianski, Oliver Scholes. I'd obviously sort of gone over. Kilman, fine, keep him in. Now, the one that really is really gonna set my alarm bells ringing if he doesn't play at least either tomorrow or against Brentford is Jean-Claire Todibo. I did the video the other day, and maybe it's a little bit over the top, maybe it's conspiracy theorist, but I'm just looking and going, here is a player that we chased and chased and chased and chased. And since we've purchased him, or not purchased him, got him in on loan, my understanding is that it's a conditional obligation to buy. The conditions are he has to start 5 Premier League games. That's my understanding. It could be wrong, but that's my understanding. At this precise moment in time, he has not started a Premier League game. He's only started in the previous round against Bournemouth. Not only that, but as far as Premier League action is concerned, 7 minutes. 7 minutes, and bear in mind, we got rinsed against Chelsea, and at no point was he even looked upon. Instead, we put Edson Alvarez, a defensive midfield, at centre-back. I just look and I go, this is really bizarre. I can't work out what's going on here, and that's why I did the piece about, asking the question. I'm not saying there is. I'm asking the question: is there a little bit of a civil war, a little bit of discontent between the head coach and the technical director in Lopetegui and Stuyton? Now, if Jean-Claire Tebow doesn't play tomorrow, Kanye, I will be quite concerned. If he doesn't play against Brentford, having not played against you guys, then the alarm bells will be clanging like Big Ben. I think he's got to come in. If I move a little bit further forward, I think that the defensive midfield shield, for me, that takes care of itself. If we want to maximise our chances, it has to be Edson Alvarez. And then we move forwards. Carlos Soler, for me, I think we need to see what he's got to offer. Mohamed Kudus, I would play him just a little bit sort of like more centrally, just behind the striker. As you can see there, the striker is Danny Ings. I think Danny Ings, he got a hat-trick against Dagenham and Redbridge. Okay, it was a behind closed doors friendly, 30 minutes a half, but he got a hat-trick. He then followed that up with the goal at Fulham. He didn't get utilised against Chelsea when we was getting our asses handed to us. On either side, I would go Somerville, who I thought had a good game, not earth-shattering, but he had a good game, I thought, compared to a lot of his contemporaries against Chelsea. And on the right, I would give the armband to Jared Bowen. Now, that's my attempt at an 11. If that's the 11 that takes to the pitch tomorrow, assuming, do you see any sort of is there? Well, let me rephrase the question. You look at that. Where do you see maybe an adjustment? Where would you sort of maybe change things around?
Well, looking at the way we've been playing recently, so we've been playing a little bit still Kloppish, a little bit rock and roll, but more methodical in the build-up. So before with Klopp, we'd have a couple of passes, we'd go forward. A couple of passes, we'd go forward. What we do now is we sort of keep the ball around the back, set up, and then we'll have a midfielder come short. If it's not on, he'll spin, take his man away, and someone else will come in. What we usually get to the point is the two centre midfielders do that. Szoboszlai does that, and the holding midfielder don't want to go that far to get the ball, and that's where we spin because we're interchangeable. So looking at that, I think we'd circle around. I don't think Edson Alvarez will do that, especially after what happened on Saturday with Chelsea. I don't think he'll want to go that far to have to go and chase someone like Harvey Elliott or if Szoboszlai plays one of those. Soler, I think, is clever enough to do that. I think your issue with there is Kudus. I don't think he'll chase his man. And I think that's where we will pick apart the defensive mind of Kudus in that middle. If you let Liverpool play through your middle, I think we'll cut through you and expose you probably down Soufal's side with Gakpo. Gakpo's a big guy. He'll probably try and out-muscle him or just outpace him through the channel in between the gaps of Todibo. And then on the other side, you've got Chiesa. It just opens up for passes. So I think that's what we will be looking at, the defensive work rate of Kudus. That's where we'd be picking out the space, I would say.
Fair. Good analysis. If I move on to, I've obviously, my question normally to my brother is which West Ham will be the key to a positive result. Now, I'll pretend that I'm my brother. I'm going to say Mohamed Kudus. I'm going to say that I think if that's the 11 that takes to the pitch wearing claret and blue, then I think that for us to be in any sort of shape of getting a result by hook or by crook, I think we need to see the Ghanaian really sort of like stepping up to the plate. He's not had the greatest start to the season, and I'm not saying that's entirely down to him, but I think that he needs to now step up to the plate. And what better place to do it than at one of the great cathedrals of world football, Anfield. But now if I flip the question on its head, what's the Liverpool player that for you do you think that you would need to bring his A game? Probably not that you would need too many of them. But who's the one that you think shines for Liverpool?
Tomorrow, I'd like to see Chiesa shine tomorrow. I think Chiesa will start. I'd love to see him shine and just really show all this talk about him being finished and he's over the hill because of one ACL injury and just hit the ground running. I'd like to see that, but I think tomorrow, for us to get a good result out there, I think we're going to need probably Harvey Elliott to really raise his game, to be that man that we want him to be.
I've heard he's out injured, Kanye.
Is he injured? I thought he was back.
I don't know if
he's back.
According to the resource I'm looking at, they've listed him, Harvey Elliott and Alisson, down to miss the game, with
Right. So
Alisson likely to return against Wolves, according to this.
if it's not Alisson, then I'd like to see. It's got to be Gakpo then, really. Gakpo surely will start. He's a big game occasion player. For Holland, he's brilliant. He does everything you want him to do. And he floats into the striker position and does some of the strikers' dirty work, which I like. So I could see him having a good game tomorrow, pushing, especially like, you know, my thoughts on Todibo. If he's playing, go and play on him. Like, let's really see what he's got. Because if what you've just said earlier about the clause, and he doesn't play tomorrow, there's got to be something, like you said, beyond this. Is he bad in training? Is this thing you said about the misdirections of the sporting director and the manager? He's got to be something. But surely, if you're going to play that game of we want him, but we're going to keep him until we see more of him, you've got to play this game. You've got to see what he can do against high-level opposition. Yeah. So I'd like to see Gakpo have a go at him and, well, not rinse him, but because I like West Ham, but I'm a Liverpool fan, so
Test him.
Test him, not rinse him.
Make him work. Keep him honest.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Cool. So I've obviously put my starting 11. That's my starting 11. It's not necessarily what I think the head coach will go for. Now, if Kanye is in the dugout, if Kanye is selecting a starting 11 for Liverpool, what would be your starting 11?
Kelleher being goal. He'd have to be number one. Connor Bradley at right back. This is changing pretty much most of the squad I'd go with to rest players. Quansah would start with Joe Gomez at centre back if he's fit. Tsimikas at left back. Endo. I would probably go with McAllister and Jones in the middle. And then your front three would be, I'd probably go with Jota, Gakpo, and Chiesa.
Oh, tasty.
It's not a bad reserve team.
No, that is, I mean, as I said earlier, you guys are in a position where you could put out your reserves, and I think you would probably give most of the teams outside the top 4, 5, 6 teams, other teams in the Premier League, a good run for their money. You know, I think if you put out your reserve team like that, and I think even if we put out our first strength 11, and as I say, there's some debaters about what that actually is, Kanye. I'm not totally convinced that the head coach knows what that is currently. But I think that if we had our first strength 11 out and you had that 11 out, which is not your first strength 11, I still don't look at it and go at Anfield, well, yeah, we got a chance there. I just look and just go, the form we're in at the moment, our record at Anfield, all of the other factors, I just go, Jesus Christ, we're going to need snookers here, aren't we?
You never know it on the day. I mean, you've got to look at some of these. I mean, Tsimikas has not played that much football. Quansah got dragged at half time in the first game and has not played since, really. And then you've got Gomez has not played. Endo's not really played. Jones is not played. Chiesa's only played a couple of minutes. Gakpo's had a couple of minutes, and Jota's started 2. So it only takes a couple of match sharpness not to be there, a couple of off days for players, and it's a different story then. You never know, especially with the Liverpool system. Liverpool system sort of relies on everyone doing their job and doing it well. So it only takes those moments, and then the ball to fall to Somerville or Kudus with a one-on-one. You never know what could happen. Ings has proven previously he can be clinical. I mean, you've not seen it as much as before he even went to Liverpool. He was good at Burnley, but he has that in his locker. The finishing is still there.
Right. Well, I hope you have brought your crystal ball with you, Kanye, because I'm now going to ask you the all-important question. Now, bearing in mind, there's no VAR tomorrow. There is no extra time. If it is locked level at 90 minutes, it will go to penalties. Kanye, score prediction, please.
3-0 Liverpool.
Sorry, what was that? We lost you there. You must have gone through a tunnel.
Sorry, mate.
3-0 Liverpool. Do you know what? I wouldn't be shocked. I'd love. I like I say, I would accept a narrow defeat if we went down on our shield. I'd go fine. I actually don't think that's going to happen. I actually think that we're going to get beat sort of quite handily, and I wouldn't be shocked at a 3-0. Again, it all hinges on the teams that are put out. You know, we just don't really know for sure. Are both managers going to sort of look at the game at the weekend and go, that's my priority, so I'm going to tinker things completely around and whatever, and put out players that you don't expect? But do I think that 3-0's unrealistic? I'd like to say that I do, Kanye. I'd like to say that I disagree with you. Truth of the matter is I don't. I think you might be right.
I mean, I'd like to see, if I had the choice, just because I've got a lot of West Ham friends, yourself, Gates, a good bunch of lads, you can take a good crack. I'd like to see, let's see us race into a 3-0 lead at half time, take a foot off the pedal, and then the second half, West Ham just throw everything at us at the kitchen sink and just have a go, show a bit of grit, get a 3-2. Everyone's happy. You've shown what you can do attacking wise, even though if we do take a foot off a little bit and we go through and have a first half to think about, I'd be happy with that.
Fair. Right. Well, we've come to the end of the broadcast, but before I do, if I could just ask you again, for any of you guys that are watching, either live or at a later stage, listen to this man right here, because he's about to tell you where, if you've enjoyed his interaction, where you can see some more of his musings. Go.
We're on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon. You can download the podcast. It is Opinions from Offside. You'll see my ugly mug. You'll see Mike's ugly mug. And you'll see more guests, more people. Not as good as these boys, but everyone's got to have a hero. We've got to look up to someone,
Absolutely. And whilst you've been talking, right, I have put into the live chat the link to
Opinions from Offside.
There it is.
Lovely job like that. So we're the two one.
Any of you guys want to go, there's the link. Just click on that. You can go. You can see Kanye. You can see Michael. They're a great bunch of lads. It is not necessarily a West Ham or a Liverpool channel. It's more broadly football. Obviously, both the protagonists of the channel have their particular leanings, but it's a more, football's a broad church. Football is the winner for channels like Opinions from Offside.
It's a good laugh. It's a good giggle. We're very interactive as well. We do some quizzes for people, and there's even a bit where Mike is defending Harry Kane, and it's
wow.
He's not happy about it, but he's doing it.
Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! Well, how much did you have to? Oh, hello! Look at this. There you go. We're moving in the right direction now. Come on! Sub number 60 is words and pictures. There we go.
There we go.
But listen, guys, if you can share the channel URL onto your social media platforms. As I say, they're two great guys, and I can tell you from experience doing a YouTube channel, it's a hard gig. There's an awful lot to it. So please, let's try and get behind these boys. One of them's a West Ham fan, one of them's a Liverpool fan, but they're both great guys. Let's all come together and try and push them towards the next waypoint. I'm guessing is 100, and then beyond that, 200, 300, and then 1,000. 1,000's always the big one, because it's that point that the channel can get monetized. So let's all come together and push them through the 1,000 mark before they're very much older.
I'm already old now, Gateser.
No, you and me both, mate. You and me both. Right. Okay, we're going to call it quits there, guys. But thank you very much indeed for joining us. And as I always ask you to do, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your socials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are new around here. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. And remember, guys, all these things that you can do help to grow the channel. They're completely free of charge to you. They take a couple of seconds of your time, bit like my sex life. Did I just say that out loud?
It's a lot of detail, that, Gateser. It's a lot of detail.
I've done this a few times. Anyway, I'm going to disappear now. And please, thanks for your support. And don't forget to give your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. Come on, you Irons. We'll see you next time.
Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.
West Ham are massive.